now open.
The security is amazing, but
Alligator Alcatraz set to open today with a special visitor. A deadly ambush.
These firefighters did not have a chance.
A tragedy that claimed the lives of 2 firefighters. And it's Mango Mania.
They're easy to grow, a lot of the variety.
Learn more about Florida's most tropical fruit. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Good morning, South Florida. I'm Paula Sirignano.
Happy start of the month. I'm Stephanie Tenia. Today's Tuesday, July 1st, 2025.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Alligator Alcatraz, a new immigration facility in the middle of the Everglades, sparks controversy. The new detention center opens today in the remote wetlands of Miami with a visit by President Donald Trump. It is expected to house up to 5,000 migrants awaiting deportation.
Caplin News reporter Valentina Gaspari tells us more from the Everglades.
The facility is in the heart of the Everglades and will be informally known as Alligator Alcatraz.
President Trump visiting the opening of the so-called Alligator Alcatraz Tuesday. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirming at a news conference. Also attending are Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, Governor Ron DeSantis, and Representative Brian Donalds. Housing more than 5,000 detainees, the facility lies deep in the Everglades in Collier County and the Big Cypress Wildlife Management Area. It sits on an abandoned airport about 50 miles west of Miami, infested with pythons, alligators, and other wildlife, with no civilization around.
the security is amazing, but natural and otherwise.
Trailers and trucks taking over the area in preparation for the first detained migrants to arrive. The Department of Homeland Security posting this AI-generated photo on X of alligators wearing hats that spell out ICE. This, all part of Trump's mass deportation agenda.
We would not have agreed to do it at that site if I thought that somehow it was going to negatively impact all the great work we've done on improving and restoring the Everglades.
But protesters think otherwise. Native Americans, immigrant advocates, and politicians saying they oppose the plan.
As taxpayers, we've invested in the Everglades, right, in restoring this flow in clean water, right? So for those of us in South Florida, we depend on this clean water. We depend on this ecosystem.
Environmental group Friends of the Everglades filing a lawsuit Friday in efforts to halt the construction of the facility, saying that federal and state agencies violated laws and that the facility will cause damage to the environment and nearby species.
They're using sacred land for such a sinister and vile, end goal, which is not okay.
On Sunday afternoon, a deadly ambush in Idaho took the life of 2 firefighters and left 1 injured. The attack is still under investigation, but authorities say the suspect tried to do even more damage. CNN reporter Maribel Gonzalez is in Idaho with the latest.
Some law enforcement right now, there's an active shooter zone. They're shot. BC3's down, BC1's down. Everybody's shot up here.
2 firefighters are dead and a 3rd is injured after responding to a call Sunday for a brush fire in the Canfield Mountain area in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
This was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance.
Investigators say a man they found dead on Canfield Mountain a few hours after the first emergency call from firefighters is the suspected shooter. According to a law enforcement official, he's been identified as 20-year-old Wes Rowley. Officials believe Rowley started the brush fire intentionally before opening fire on responding firefighters.
We need law enforcement to get up here. We could possibly get the 2 wounded out. I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
Experts calling the ambush a, quote, complex sniper attack.
Right now, behind the scenes, there's a lot of work going on to really understand who this individual is and what motivated them to carry out this attack.
Residents of Coeur d'Alene lined the highway Sunday to honor the fallen firefighters as the procession transported the 2 killed from Kootenai Health to Spokane, Washington. The community continuing to search for answers as the blaze still burns.
Lawyers are going to court to challenge President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. This comes days after the Supreme Court ruled the only way to legally block Trump's policies is through class action lawsuits. Attorneys from New Hampshire and Maryland rushed to the courts to file this kind of suit. The Justice Department is expected to complete a response in the coming days.
President Trump signs a presidential memorandum imposing tougher policies on Cuba. President Donald Trump signed the memo Monday. It reinforced a ban on the U.S. tourism to Cuba and an economic embargo. The memo states that economic practices that disproportionately benefit the Cuban government or its military will end. This follows a travel ban earlier this year that included Cuba and 11 other countries. The administration says these policies on Cuba are in line with Trump's first term.
The jury is set to continue deliberations this morning after weeks of hearing both sides during the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. CNN's Lee Waldman has more.
The fate of embattled hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs is in the jury's hands as this weeks-long trial comes to an end. Combs is facing several federal charges, including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The jury heard closing arguments from the prosecution Thursday. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic said the defendant counted on silence and shame to keep his crimes hidden. He thought his fame, wealth, and power put him above the law, but over the course of this trial, his crimes have been exposed. Slavic highlighted testimony from Combs' ex-girlfriends Kathy Ventura and the woman testifying under the alias Jane. The women testified Combs forced them to engage in sexual encounters referred to as freak-offs and hotel nights. In her closing, Slavic said up until today, the defendant was able to get away with these crimes because of his money, his power, his influence. That stops now. It's time to hold him accountable. Friday, Mark Agnifilo, an attorney for Combs, doubled down on his opening statement from May that the sexual encounters were between consenting adults, telling the jury they are swingers. They are avowedly swingers. This is their lifestyle. He also challenged the merit of the entire case and sarcastically referred to the searches of Combs' home in 2024, telling the jury boxes of Astroglide taken off the streets. Woo, I feel better already. Artificial lubricant, not for me. The streets of America are safe from the Astroglide. In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
Some stay and some go. We will talk tricks and exemptions in the South Florida sports.
And that's still ahead, and so is the story.
There is no fruit in the world that has this many varieties.
A tasty and informational event that has South Florida mangoing to Homestead. Don't go anywhere. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go, get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Many mangoes heading south on the Chrome Avenue. In Homestead, mango lovers gathered this past weekend for a flavorful and educational celebration of South Florida's most iconic tropical fruit.
Mango Mania brought together farmers, scientists, and fruit fans for a one-of-a-kind experience. Caplin News reporter Gabriela Flores has the details.
Reporting for Mango Mania, where this tropical fruit is more than just a snack. It's the start of the show, and it's also a way to connect with culture, science, and community.
There is no fruit in the world that has this many varieties and this many flavor, this many sizes. In South Florida, we have more than 350 different varieties of mangoes.
These aren't your average mangoes. Local growers are producing bold, flavorful hybrids that are drawing in curious crowds from all over.
They're easy to grow, a lot of the varieties, not all of them, easy to grow. They produce well if the trees are taken care of, and they're delicious. And there's a lot of variety of flavor, particularly with the newer cultivars that are being developed. You can have anything from a straight mango flavor, which is hard to describe other than taste like mango, to a lemony flavor, to a peachy flavor, to a pineapple-y flavor.
But this year, the harvest is smaller than usual. Only around 25% of mango cultivars are fruiting, and experts say climate is a key factor.
So the temperatures are affecting when the mangoes bloom. They can also affect the pollinators, which actually do the transfer of the pollen so that you get fruit set and you get fruit. And so any adverse environmental conditions, too hot, too cool, can affect when and if the trees are going to set fruit.
Guests of Mango Mania savor a fascinating range of mangoes, each with its own distinct texture, aroma, and flavor. This event is showing how South Florida is celebrating and protecting this local treasure. This is Gabriela Flores, reporting for Caplin News.
The Dolphins added a new face to their roster on Monday after an abrupt move. The Miami Dolphins on Monday traded tight end Jonnu Smith and their star quarterback Jalen Ramsey to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The sudden trade also included a 2027 fifth-round pick. In return, the Dolphins are getting the safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick. When Smith heard the news about getting traded by the Dolphins, he expressed his discontent via Twitter, calling out the institution for poor treatment.
They're back! The Florida Panthers have agreed to contract extensions with 3 key players. MVP Sam Bennett has agreed to an 8-year deal for $64 million. Aaron Ekblad has also agreed to an 8-year deal for around $61 million. And Brad the Rat King Marchand has agreed to stay for another 6 years for $31.5 million. With the gang back together for another year, a three-peat for the Stanley Cup, it's very possible. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
To reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Bill is a family man. He invests his money wisely and provides a good life for his children. Just one problem. He often opens emails from senders he doesn't know, and his computer is not password protected. One day, Bill checked his bank account and 94% of malware attacks originate from emails. Don't be like Bill. Take your cybersecurity seriously.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Stephanie Tenia.
And I'm Paula Sirignano. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.